Y'all ever hear about the deceased enslaved coachman who still thinks he's on the job to this day? Get your popcorn. On today's episode of plantations that should have been burnt to the damn ground but are now used as bed and breakfasts, event centers, and wedding venues, we have the Nottoway Plantation in White Castle, Louisiana, right off the Mississippi River. This place is massive, y'all. It is actually the largest standing plantation to date. It's 53,000 square feet, has 64 bedrooms, 12 hand-carved fireplaces, amongst a whole bunch of other stuff. It is really huge. A lot of people do stay here because it is a bed and breakfast as well, but this is a very hot spot for weddings. To be honest, this is probably the most breathtaking plantation I've ever seen in my life, y'all. Who would ever want to be married in a plantation? I don't know, but it happens. That's beautiful. That's really nice. Sensational. But like all plantations, this place has a wicked, evil past that has left a lot of souls behind, and the spirits pay reparation. The story starts out with John and Emily Randolph purchasing this plantation. Both of these people were very, very big socialites. They came for money. John's father, who was a senior, was appointed the federal judgeship of Mississippi by President James Monroe. It's not a lot of information on Emily's people other than her father gifted the couple 20 slaves and $20,000 as a wedding gift, which in today's currency is a lot of money. The plantation was to basically set roots and put their family, especially their kids, out into society. Now, initially, Emily's daddy wanted John to run a cotton farm, but John thought that it was oversaturated and decided to harvest sugarcane instead. So when they purchased Nottoway Plantation, they had 5,200 acres and 155 slaves to cater to those said acres. But these people were experiencing spiritual reparations far before the place was even reported haunted. During this time, America was in a civil war, and John pledged his finances, a bunch of money, and his firstborn son to the Confederacy. He actually had all three of his sons fight in the war, but only one was killed, and that was the first son, which we know back then was the golden child, your heir. So this crushed John. But that didn't move him to treat his slaves well. Lynchings, beatings, grapings, unaliving, bug breaking, all of that was a normal, common thing at this plantation. This house remained with them up until 1889 after John's death, and Emily sold it. And for a time, it had deteriorated and almost was nothing, which would have served it right, but then someone bought it. We'll get to that later. Ghost number 1. The coachman. So if you don't know what a coachman is, it is the man that is driving the horse and carriage. And John had a very loyal coachman. To this day, people see this coachman at the gates waiting with the horse and carriage and everything, except there are no horses or carriages on this property. They hear the horses galloping in the middle of the night. They hear the wheels turning on the pavement. They hear the bell. This man shows up at least a couple nights a week. Guests, staff, everyone that steps foot on here has reported seeing him. Ghost number 2. The carriage house is haunted by a little slave girl. No one has the details on this little girl, but it's assumed that she was either lynched or died in a very, very slavish way. The little girl was reported to die over 150 years ago, but they see her playing in the carriage house. They've built a parking lot for their events, and they see her in the parking lot. There's also said to be security footage with her clear as day, skipping around the property, playing, acting as if she were still alive, like she doesn't even realize that she's not. But of course, they'll never let us see that because this is a major moneymaker for whoever owns it now. And who wants to have their wedding at a place that is full of black spirits? But she spooks security on a regular basis to the point that some of them have resigned. This is room 14 and ghost number 3. Remember earlier I told you guys someone bought this property. Well, in 1980, a lady named Odessa Owens purchased the property and turned it into what it is today. She eventually sold, But it was only under one condition: if the new owners would allow her to die in this room. And they did. But it's said that she never left. She never checked out. Several brides, grooms, groomsmen, bridesmaids, staff, housekeeping have reported seeing a full apparition of Miss Odessa in this room. One housekeeper came out of the bathroom in this room, an ensuite, and seen a full body apparition sitting at the edge of the bed. She stood up and she dissipated into air. It scared her so much she quit. But there's also another spirit that occupies this room that they know is not Odessa. Whoever it is, they have taken a liking to women with long hair, and they love to plan their hair or touch the back of their neck or run their hands up the back of their neck into the back of their head. And it doesn't matter if you're in the shower, sitting down, like laying down, whatever this spirit is has a thing for women with long hair. So much so, a bride was staying in this suite and decided by morning she was not getting married there. People have also reported looking in that mirror, and in the back of them, they see an apparition of a woman. All in all, this place is haunted as hell, and I don't know one sane person with moral compass that would ever want to get married at a plantation. Because if I know spirit the way I think I know spirit, spirit is petty. I'd actually like to know the divorce rate of couples that get married on plantations, especially this one. But whatever. All in all, the story of Nottoway Plantation and its hauntings make me really sad for my enslaved people, because they are still working and moving along this property as if they don't understand that they are not alive anymore. It's almost like purgatory. And then this place is right off the Mississippi River, which is its own video and spiritual hub in itself. Like, why would you ever want to start your life with your significant other here? It's the brazen weirdness and low-key disrespect for me, but y'all do you. So if you ever want to fuck around and find out, you can get married at the Nottoway Plantation. Do good and be good.